Yo, so Cafecito Time candles and melt are now available, guys. The smell is unbelievable. And I'm not just saying this, but my house smells so damn good. Every time I come in, everyone's like, are you making coffee? I'm like, nope, it is my new candle. So exclusively just for our listeners, if you use HERR 10, you will get 10% off our melts and the candle. I like them both, so I can't suggest one or the other. I have the melts upstairs in my room, and the candle burns downstairs. So make sure you get yours exclusively only at Twin Candle Co. Make sure you use HERR 10. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another HERR Lounge podcast. Welcome back from the holidays, Rob.
Hello, everybody.
I mean, gosh, how was that?
Like a blink of an eye, it's come and gone.
It's over.
It's over.
Done.
You seemed pretty happy about it, though.
So happy. Before I get into my quote, my sister came over yesterday and she said, isn't it so sad that after you take the Christmas decor down, like it just seems sad? I was like, actually, no, I want to do it now already. I said, but I don't have time. So they're going to stay up till the 6th because you know how that's Mexicans do till the 6th. So I said, so they'll be here till the 6th. They might gradually start coming down one, like little by little. I said, but I'm done. I want to start my new year. I want to clean. I want my housekeeper to come on Friday, the 31st.
I'm trying to spring clean now.
I've already started. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I'm cleaning out stuff. So that's what we're doing the entire week. I want no laundry in the hampers by Friday. So I'm going to start this new routine, which started on Sunday, where I wash one color. I used to have that. So every day I would wash one load. So it'd be maybe the whites. And I actually think I gave someone that suggestion in our Discord one day. Join our Discord. For only $1 a month, you can be a part of her world.
Now tell them where to sign up.
HERR Lounge Podcast / right?
Patreon.com.
Patreon.com.
/ HERR Lounge Podcast.
There you go. Sorry. But so I used to do that. I used to have a routine where it was like, okay, today's Monday, whites get washed. Today's Tuesday, whatever, colored. So it was kind of like, and it would make life easier to where on the weekend you're coasting because you're kind of like you're focusing on one section at a time versus trying to kill everything in one day, right?
Right.
So I had stopped doing that to where now it was like on Sunday trying to do all the laundry. And it's just probably from all week. And then that was like not fun. So I've started this again. And I'm hoping to have everything pretty much cleaned out, clean and ready to go so that I can have my housekeeper come. So I only have her. So that's the budget, right? Mm-hmm. She's only allowed, she technically could come as often as I wanted her to come, but
Got to throw that caveat out there.
Well, because they're probably thinking like, man, she's lazy. She can't clean her own house. No, it's just that if you add up how much a housekeeper cost to come, I mean, I could buy a lot of stuff with that.
Yeah.
No joke.
And you can do that with anything. And then you how long or how much it costs to clean versus you clean, or the time that it would take for you to do it, and what you could be doing at that time.
Well, that's why I do once a month. She comes and she's the one that does the deep cleaning. So I'll clean, right? Mm-hmm. I'll start to clean, and when I know she's coming, then it's like I make sure everything is in where it needs to be so that she can come and do the baseboards and do the blinds.
Somebody that's never hired somebody to clean their house, and you tell them how much you paid for them to deep clean your house, and the way they scoff at you is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, look, you don't understand.
You don't.
Cost benefit analysis here, like the cost versus the time, the effort, all.
I used to have it to where she would come every other week. So I guess that'd be twice a month, and
with 3 kids and a husband and wife,
it was
and a
great.
Babysitter makes sense.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, Luisa does light housework, and even then, she still has to come in. So, I had to choose. I had to pick that battle. That was one of those. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna have to outsource this, and because I just don't have time, and I don't want to do it either.
Let's just be honest. How the fuck does I don't want to
do it? Oh, because everybody's gonna have to leave the house. That's what it's gonna take. You got to leave the house. What I like to do, because I know housekeepers kind of don't do this, is I'll move the bed and like make sure I sweep the back and clean the baseboard behind the bed, and I'll move the dresser and I'll clean behind the dresser and the baseboard behind the dresser, because usually they don't do that. And honestly, I don't want to be responsible for anybody getting hurt because they moved to heavy furniture. Right?
That's very considerate of you.
Yeah, I don't want to be in charge of that. Sorry, you hurt yourself.
No insurance. You know,
I'm not. There is no insurance on your job, ma'am. You are a contract worker. You better have your own insurance. Type of thing. But anyway, I want to talk about something interesting today, which I think a lot of the people listening will be like, "What the fuck?" But and I thought this was perfect. A perfect quote for this. The devil whispered in my ear, "You cannot withstand the storm." Today, I whispered in the devil's ear, "I am the storm."
Oh shit.
So I've been watching the Playboy Mansions documentary. It's a whole docuseries on Hulu. I was doing laundry because that's what I like to do, is watch garbage TV when I fold clothes. And so I didn't feel like watching the Kardashians because I've been a little bit disappointed with them lately, even though you guys all know how much I love the Kardashians. But I just really... yeah, I've been feeling a certain, ever since the Balenciaga thing, and I just kind of been feeling a certain kind of way.
You lost interest in the Kardashians?
Not interest, but I just kind of felt like, are you, like, now after watching the Playboy Mansion and then all kind of shit coming out about Hollywood being pedophiles and then the Balenciaga thing, now I was telling Pete, it all makes sense. Like, growing up, you go to church, right? And then they tell you, don't do this, don't do that. And you're just like, oh my God, they're such squares. Like, why everything you do, you end up in hell? They're like, damn, I can't go to the movies. You're going to hell. Don't listen to secular music. You're going to hell. So everything was going to hell, but I understand it now with Hollywood. Now, with everything that's been going on with Hollywood, it's like, wait a minute. Bro, it's crazy how so many guys idolize Hugh Hefner, right? And so he's like this cool fucking like pimp who's got a bunch of bitches, and they're all there and they all serve him, right? But at first, when I first was watching it, I kind of told Pete, I said, well, this is a little unfair. I said, because they're releasing this docuseries after he's passed. Why didn't they do it when he was living? Well, as I continued to watch, this was only into episode 1 that I felt this way, right? But as you continue to watch, he had all these previous bunnies pretty much in check. Like, you weren't allowed to release shit or you're in trouble. So let's start from the beginning. This guy created this world of where many women felt empowered sexually. And this goes back, Rob, to what's happening to present day, to where, all the women who think like women empowerment, fuck yeah, I'll touch my PUSSY if I want to. I don't like the word.
You hate that word.
I hate that word. And I can do whatever I want with my PUSSY. I'll use it how I want. Right. And it's like, maybe the old me who didn't have kids and was not married, even though I guess I had a boyfriend, I feel like, I was like, yeah, so sleep around if you want. You don't need to tell everybody though that you were sleeping around. Like, you ain't got to like promote it, just keep that to yourself, right? It's different. For a guy, it's bragging points. But like Pete says, sex is about power, and I think a lot of females, when they have this I control the bedroom type of situation, it's about power, right? And so I think we all know that. I think we all know, that's why that's that song that pussy got you whooped, right? That's why it's out there. So
beautiful voice.
Thanks. Well, that's kind of what he sounds like. But I just think like to myself, okay, so you have this image of a bunny, right? And this bunny was really cool. And so it was a club at the beginning, which if you think about it, it was like the men were not allowed to touch them. They weren't nothing. You couldn't do nothing to them inside the club, the bunny club. It was a legit like strip club, I guess.
Okay.
But there was no stripping happening. It was just these beautiful women serving you. And they made more money than a teacher, then a secretary. We're talking about, this was opened back in the 60s. So Hugh Hefner was really recognized, which I thought, when it first started, I was like, wow, he was a game changer, right? Because they show you all the good stuff he did. So because he allowed for blacks to come in to his club, and there wasn't no segregation where you were like, oh, the black people got to hang in that corner when they come in, or there was no black bunnies. You know what I'm saying? No, it was you were black. Cool. You're just the same as everybody, right? There was none of this segregation. So he was like really talked about and really like bashed, because how dare you let a black person into your club and
spend money
and integrate, or, integrate with other, like, our pure race, right? Because that's what they kind of saw it as. And to him, it was like, no. He also used the women empowerment in feeling, you are a woman, you are beautiful, you can do what you want with your body. And women bought it.
Master manipulator.
I mean, bro, when I tell you the interviews, I mean, you couldn't cancel him if you tried. Literally. He had every connection. He had everybody that worked there wore a microphone and a camera on them. Everybody. So you couldn't have side conversations. You couldn't have talk shit about anything. You couldn't talk about anything that happened at the Playboy Mansion to anybody, or you are gone. And I mean gone. Not just fired, you're gone.
More accountability there than in most law enforcement departments.
That's because he had the law enforcement working for him.
Of course he did.
And so a lot of these bunnies, sadly, a lot of them committed suicide, right? Nobody really talked about it. A lot of them were victims of rape and being tied up and things being done to them. So there's one story where the guy from Soul Train, okay, even Regis Philbin, which I was like a huge fan of Regis and Kathy back in the days, right?
Live with Regis and Kathy.
Yeah. And so he was like number one, like fucking, okay. So there's so much to tell about this documentary.
Take your time.
And I guess I should start with the fact that this is what he promoted, right? And so because he made their clubs, this was not the mansion. We're talking about the bunny clubs, like where you went, these women were making so much money and they were taken care of. You could also live in the dormitories of the mansion where all the bunnies, girl bunnies, could live there. And now you're getting paid there. You're living there for free. Plus you're getting paid all this money, right? But you're not allowed to leave the area. You're not allowed to do a lot of stuff. Okay. You have single mothers who, needed a job to support themselves. And so doing their profession, which was more than likely you were a teacher or a nurse or a secretary. Those were the three jobs that were popular in the 60s. You weren't making enough as a single parent. So being a bunny was way more attractive. And so the rules were they wore these little beady bodysuits, right? Or I guess they are. But it had what is that called? Oh my God.
A corset.
But the corset with the legit ones with the metal inside.
Damn.
So when you sit, you're still this up, you're sitting straight up. And when some of the girls would come in, one of the girls that they interviewed, she came in and she obviously you're not getting a new uniform if you gain weight. So if you gain 5 pounds, you are suspended, right? Because now your uniform doesn't fit you, and you come back after you've dropped your 5 pounds. They'll weigh you again. You'll put your uniform on, and if it fits, you have your job again. If you don't have your job until you get back to the size that you need to be.
Hot take. Some of the standards we need to bring back today. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine. That would not be tolerated right now whatsoever, because right now we're promoting being
morbidly obese
is okay.
It's sexy. It's hot. Yeah, which, I mean, we've talked about this several times.
Yeah, I'm not talking about this again. And again, people can talk mess about me because of it. For me, it has nothing to do with like
vanity.
It has everything to do with health. And
let's be real.
And if you've never had anybody, this episode is brought to you by Major Beauty. Your girl is about to hook you up because y'all know how I do my lashes all the time. And Major Beauty is going to offer $20 off your initial full set of lashes. And the first 6 months, you can also use this promo code HERR20 and you can get $20 off your membership because she does offer membership services. So she not only does eyelashes, she also does permanent makeup, those new henna eyebrows. If you're not ready to go full force on the tattooing of the eyebrows, you can try them out by getting this henna stuff done. I haven't tried it because y'all know I got microbladed eyebrows, but I do use Kiana for my lashes. She is my new lash tech. I'm loving her. She's great and she's super duper professional and you're going to love her little studio. So check her out, The Major Beauty. Make sure you use promo code HERR20 to get a discount off your full set and your membership for the next 6 months, guys. Luckily, none of my family members was due to overweight, but obviously it was their food choice that caused diabetes. And so they're no longer here. So you know, we all pick what we put in our body. So whatever you eat, I mean, could I be way skinnier right now? Of course. Do I try as hard as I used to? Of course not. So then don't complain, Marisol, as to why you don't look like the way you looked before you had kids.
But new year,
new me.
New me.
Cheers.
No, I'm saying cheers to that. Cute cup, by the way, with the Mujer logo on there. Matches your chair. Thank you. Identical.
Right? So,
So these interviews and they got the chicks coming in. How do these ladies look, by the way?
Some of them are very pretty. And there was the first Black woman that was hired, right? And the first
one of the
bunnies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're a server. It's basically, you know what that reminds me of geishas, except for because they still have to take care of the VIP people. And what I mean by that, it's like you provide for them whatever they want, their alcohol, whatever. You're not allowed to touch the bunny. And if you even remotely touched the bunny a little bit, like you were kicked the fuck out. I mean, it was that legit. So these women felt empowered. Mm-hmm. They felt beautiful. Their confidence was like through the roof because to be a bunny, I mean, there was hundreds of women waiting in line to be hired. However, they had a huge turnover there because they would be some of them would be unhappy that perhaps someone tried to touch them or, just things that happen in a job and they'd quit. So then it's like the next one's there to interview. So they never had a problem interviewing women. It wasn't
there was a line.
Oh, there was a line. Hundreds. They said hundreds of women waiting to be interviewed. Like they were applying.
And how many people did it say at any given time were bunnies?
It didn't say that. But you got to remember, there just wasn't one place. There was also club? Some, I forgot where else that was. Was it Denver? I think it was Denver, which now it's a resort that you went to. So only the VIPs with the key that they would give you.
The 1% of the 1%.
So these were your Regis Philbin. This was your guy from the Soul Train. I mean, we're talking about people if celebrities came in, that was it. You treated them like royalty. Whatever they say, you better do, But it was there. They had a no dating policy with any of your VIP clients. And of course it was still going on, but it was not allowed. And if they found out, you were out of there. You know what I'm saying?
So much easier to keep secrets back then.
Yeah. So the guy from Soul Train took 3 of these ladies or 2 of these ladies home with him because he was a regular there, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't have a key, which key meant you were like, on the top. You had this key. By the way, all shit aside, great marketing. I mean, I'm going to give it to him. I hate to say that, but fuck, his marketing was great.
Give credit where it's due.
Where I was thinking like, what can I create that could make them feel super VIP, right? Because I mean, a key, all they felt this key made these men feel empowered, like they can do anything. And you were only the elite had him. You know what I'm saying? So he takes him to his house. They didn't think anything of it, although you're not supposed to leave with the celebrity, right? Okay. And they left and he tied them up, raped them, I'm going to mispronounce the word, but sodomize one of them with a wooden stick.
Oh.
And these bunnies ended up missing. So it was like, that's weird. Where are these bunnies? So then you had the mama bunnies. 2 of the mama bunnies were supposed to clean up. They're the cleanup crew along with this other guy, which funny, it reminds me of like Rip and from Yellowstone. And like Beth Dunn, like they're having to clean up this dirty work. So you weren't allowed to call the cops. So they couldn't call the cops on them. One of the bunnies managed to escape from where she was tied up and was able to call them.
The mama bunnies.
The mama bunnies called the guy and said, hey, he's got us hostage here. Come here and come get us. And so he comes to get him. And she said, the mama bunny said, she's crying as she's telling the story, right? Because she feels awful that she never reported this. And she said they were bloody and they had their own in-house doctor so that nobody would know what was happening there. And, you know, she said they were super in bad shape. And she had to clean them up. The doctor came in. They let them rest for a little bit. And then they just go upon their business.
Go back to work?
And they go back to work once they're healed. Some of them leave. Some of them don't stay. A few of them were in another situation where these guys pretended to be VIPs and have a key.
Oh, jeez.
And so they got raped and they videotaped them doing all kind of shit. But because they knew that they would get in trouble for leaving, they told them that if they ever reported it, they would show them this. And you cannot smear Hugh Hefner's name. No one is allowed to do that.
Until now.
Which is crazy. So check this out. Hugh Hefner had a best friend who was a doctor. Had the doctor come live in the mansion. The doctor took away his daughter from his mother at 7 years old, so she lived in the mansion. She saw everything that happened in the mansion as the coolest thing ever, the most beautiful women. She was the only girl there, so her not having a mother and all these girls like treating her like, you know, spoiling her because they loved her and she was a little girl. She just like could not wait because she wanted to grow up and be a bunny, right? And as she got older, you know, she still couldn't do the parties or anything like that. But then she kind of like started to realize like, oh shit, what's going on here? One day she kind of opened the door and she saw them doing shit that she was like, oh, I never want to do that. Like, you know, there's no way I want to do this. One of Hugh Hefner's girlfriend at the time, because, you know, he has several girlfriends at one time. One of them, she was young. And because she was like they're not allowed to leave. Anything you need is in the mansion. I'm talking about manicure, pedicure, massages, shopping, anything you need is there. So you never need to leave the compound at all because Hugh Hefner never leaves the compound. There's no need to. Literally everything is there from, gourmet chefs to, anything, Rob, name it, it's there. Okay. And so one of the girlfriends ends up spending a lot of time with this little girl. Right. And so at this point now, she might've been like 14, I think it was. And so she started like hanging out with her and stuff. And I guess the girlfriend assumed, like she said, they started to love each other. And since she missed her mom and was taken away from her mom, she had this weird infatuation with her. It was almost like she fell in love with the lady too. And basically Hugh Hefner and that girl ended up having sex, right? They ended up sleeping together. And so one of the butlers comes in and brings him some food or whatever. And then he's like, the girlfriend's like, you know, never say anything about this. And he was like, yeah, no, you know, and he walks out, whatever. It's like, oh, he said, say anything about what? And he goes, thank you. She's like, thank you, whoever. And then he walks out, you know? And so she now sleeps. This is totally her girlfriend now, too. They're now like in a whole relationship where they go out partying one day. And you must take a Quaalude whenever you go out with him. that's part of the kind of the deal.
Them's the rules.
And so, now there's a few of them in the room with Hugh Hefner, and the girlfriend who they loved each other, right? Says, come to the room with me and Hugh Hefner, right? With Hugh, he's like, come on to come do shit. Now, mind you, this little girl was raised in this house. So she saw Hugh Hefner as her uncle. She never thought, oh, my uncle would just see me as a bunny one day, right? There's no possible way. I have to be he has to see me as a daughter. So she basically tells the girl, this girl, she's like, the girlfriend's like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And she starts to cry because obviously she loves this girl. Now she's inviting her into this mess and Hugh Hefner gets mad and goes, well, I guess we're not doing nothing now. You can go ahead and go. And she was like, wait, she asked, we were going to do something? Like, you've known me since I was 7. It's like, your father knows the rules here.
How old was she at the time?
So now she's probably she's made it to 18 because he said, you're of age now. And she's like, my father literally was in a room down from there. We lived there. And so he was like, oh, your dad knows what's up. Like, your dad knows. We was just waiting for you to turn 18. I don't fucking know. But the fact that he disgustingly just said, yeah, so that's what's up. But that doesn't exclude you from me effing you. You know, it's like, we still finna do this thing, And so because of that, that's why they didn't. So this same little girl decides to write a book. This is when Hugh Hefner was still living. And he called her and said, whatever you do. And he goes, what is your book about? And she just said, what it was like to live in the mansion. And he was like, whatever you do, please don't put that I knew about you and I forgot what the girlfriend's name was, about y'all's affair. Don't put that I knew. Okay. So she's like, okay, that's fair. I won't put that, And totally normal conversation with him. It was like, so where are you touring? She's like, well, I've got this stop. I've got that. So I'm going to New York. I'm going here, blah, blah, blah. He was like, okay. She's like, well, best of luck. And thank you for, making sure this is not printed in the book about you basically having an affair with her. And so he was like, okay, best of luck. Thanks. Next day, she's supposed to be heading to New York, was her first stop. And they said, yeah, so your interview has been canceled. She's like, why? They're like, yeah, they're just going to wait on the release of the book to see how it does. She's like, what? Next phone call. Her next stop was canceled. Next phone call. Her next stop was canceled. He pretty much fucking had the connect everywhere and said, basically, you're not going to interview her because he knew that she was going to tell the business. Fucked up her whole career. Like, you're not going to do that here. You're not going to talk about what's going on in the bunny house.
Damn,
like, you're not.
Savage.
And good luck. One of the butlers tried to do the same thing. Never got published either.
Really? Her book didn't get published at all?
What? It happened later. So later she was able to do it on, but it was almost like I think he was already like maybe the first year he passed. And so the guy that was trying to write the first book, right? Because this little girl was little. Now she's an older woman, but back then. So the first butler that tried to write a book, it was like, hell no, bitch. You is not writing this and you are not releasing this. And so, and Hugh Hefner, he said Hugh Hefner, he goes, yes, they were paid very well. But Hugh Hefner treated them like you're my servants, like you work here,
my property.
Yeah, we're not fucking cool. Like he's like, you did what he said, no matter what. You wanted to keep your job, no matter what. He's like, and you got paid so well. It's like you did the no matter what, What is the point of this whole entire conversation?
I don't know, but I'm enthralled by it.
Right.
We're half an hour in and I'm like, can we just watch the podcast or watch the docuseries along with the podcast?
I mean, it needs you're kind of like, I'm sitting there and I'm just like in awe that this man was able to cover up so much in his mansion, so much crazy shit. Later, they found there's one girl, I think her name was like Bobby Arnie or something like that. I'm sorry, Bobby and Arnie. There's two different girls. One of them was a bunny. They were both bunnies, but one ended up turning into Hugh Hefner's like right-hand man, right? And so they were trying to pin it on her that she was the one smuggling drugs for Hugh Hefner. Because how did Hugh Hefner have all these drugs on his compound when the parties were happening if he never left his compound? Who was bringing them in? How was he getting them? So, excuse me, thank you. This girl was pretty much doing all the work, or this is where I'm at. Well, they were trying to like literally put her in a room with detectives, investigators, like trying to make her admit, or, not trying, I guess, interrogating her to admit that her and this other bunny were the ones smuggling in the drugs. And the chapter or the title of that episode that I'm currently on is called Your Loyalty. And it's because a lot of the women that worked for Hugh Hefner were so loyal. I'm telling you, it reminds me like a little bit of like the way the Yellowstone works with loyalty, so this girl committed suicide because she was not going to admit to anything or allow for it was not allowing her to admit anything. So she was not going to admit that she was doing anything for Hugh Hefner, nor that there was drugs there, nor that any of that was happening. So instead, she decided to commit suicide.
Damn. How many parts is it?
I feel like I've watched so many of the episodes, but yesterday when I turned it on, I resumed episode 3. So this is barely on episode 3 and this much info is already there. I don't know how many episodes there are, to be honest with you. And again, I clicked it just out of like curiosity.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what got you to watch it?
I was like, this is interesting. Why would they have, like, what is this about? Because then they also interviewed Holly. Remember when the Girls Next Door came out with those 3 girls? So basically how those 3 girls were really picked, they weren't his girlfriends at the beginning. It was only Holly. I think that was one of the girlfriends. But Bridget and the other girl, it was because the producers of E! Or whoever it was that at that time that was doing that, they were, I guess, trying to figure out how they could make this work. And so they interviewed a bunch of bunnies and they liked the personalities of these 3 together. So that's how these 3 became his main girlfriends. And Holly really kind of felt like, even though that was his girlfriend, he never allowed her to like kind of be on the cover. And basically it was because he was like, you're technically not pretty enough to do the cover. And that's why she started to do like, she got a nose job and she got bigger boobs. And so she started to do all these things to try to look like the rest of the blondes that were there. If you pay attention to pictures with all the girls and Hugh in the middle, right? You'll notice that they all pretty much look alike. Like they all have the same look. And it was because this is what he liked, And funny thing is I used to always hear that Playboy magazines had the best articles. And so one of the journalists that wrote for he picked great topics. So yes. So in addition to naked women showing their chaunch on there and bending over and doing everything, you also had these amazing articles to where, yes, men were going to read it because the articles were great. And they were about everything. It wasn't like really, there really weren't like men subjects. It was just like casual world subjects, I would say, And so, Holly said she just kind of started to feel like, yeah, this is not like what is happening here, and he had control. They weren't allowed to leave the compound. If they left, it was for a few hours and they were like they had to go with one of like his men. And like I said, there was no need. And basically one of the ladies, she hasn't been shown again, but one of the ladies, I guess, who worked with him, which was the person who wrote checks to people, right? Who she was basically saying like, I don't know why they're all speaking out now. They weren't mad when they were making all this money and getting all these free gifts and trips and, everything. Life was so good, which is why a lot of these women stayed. But then there was a lot of women that committed suicide and they were never talked about. No one ever knew about it because it happened on the bunny in the mansion, in the Playboy mansion. So you weren't going to hear about it. But so many girls would get on drugs and they were doing all kind of things to the point where it was...
At the top of the show, you were gonna like tie that into like today's world. So
yes, so all that to say that I still feel that now it's not Hugh Hefner encouraging you to do all these things. I just feel it's social media.
It's so I'm drawing the correlation the whole time you're talking about.
Yes, it's just like social media. We do such a good job of selling sex and making it okay. For example. There was this lady at a market that I saw and she was walking around breastfeeding her kid, right? Like this. She had her boob out and was breastfeeding. I gave her a high five and I said, thank you for feeding your child and not covering yourself up and going into a corner because, oh my God, heaven forbid anybody see my fucking boob that is feeding my child, right? Because we've sexualized everything now. A boob, because for a hot minute that was illegal to do. You had to be covered up.
Yeah, breastfeeding in public?
Yes.
Was it like an indecency?
I guess, but bitches have their ass hanging out and titties all out, so why isn't that the same? We're talking about feeding a child, you know? So I gave her a high five. I said, thank you. Thank you for doing that. I said, because I want for my girls to see that your boob feeding your child is normal. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, she's not fucking stripping and taking her clothes off. She's feeding her child, you know? And now everything is about, you know, what's the one, the Cardi B song?
WAP.
Okay.
What a WAP.
You know, everything is about like, I'm saying women should be sexy, right?
Fuck yeah.
But you don't have to do everything and show everything.
You have to do it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do that. Like, do that in the privacy of your own home with your other half, you know. And I just don't feel like... If you ever notice a girl who has a really nice body, right? And they're kind of like... I'm going to tell you, there's a really pretty girl that works at the cafe next door. And she's so pretty. I don't know. She kind of has like a Brazilian look. And the reason why I say that is she's got a beautiful tan and her hair's like that beachy color. It's not really blonde, but it's like a brown with a few like bleach looking. She's so pretty. Natural beauty.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, she's got such natural beauty. And, she was wearing like a super duper fitted dress the other day. And I thought to myself, I bet the men that are coming in here like are just fucking like with their eyes are undressing her because you don't get to see anything except this fitted dress on this beautiful face, you know, natural beauty. She doesn't wear makeup.
It's like an inadvertent tease.
We're talking about a beautiful, like she's just natural beauty, like no makeup needed, you know, no fake eyelashes, no fake eyebrows, you know, none of that. And she just looked so pretty. And I just thought to myself, God, I bet the men in here are just fucking eating her with their eyes because she's leaving everything to the imagination in the most sexy way, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Like you're just totally being a tease to these men by showing off your body with this fitted dress. Yeah. And she was wearing chanclas with it too, like flip-flops. That's what's funny, you know?
Fuzzy sandals.
Yeah, she was wearing flip-flops with it. She's totally like, I feel like she's like a beach girl. I don't know why. Like, there's nowhere here to be a beach girl, but she just has that look. I've never asked her where she's from, but...
So where's the line, right? For some, you know, some people are like super puritanical about things. Like even that would be too much. Like, you know, Edmana, you should be having the long skirt, you know, that down to your ankles.
And her dress was long. That's a crazy thing.
But it was tight. It was fitted.
It was down here. It was fitted. Yeah.
Big difference.
I mean, my dad was really big about us looking dressed up all the time. I think I've said this before. Like my dad used to say, my mom didn't like us to wear mini skirts, right? But my dad felt like, oh no, boo boo, you is young right now. Wear the mini skirt, because the most embarrassing thing you can do, he used to say, is be a grown ass woman still trying to wear a mini skirt. He's like, I don't want you to be 60 or 50 and still try to wear a mini skirt, right? Because you look ridiculous.
Right.
But perhaps my dad has the idea of an older grandma looking person in 50 wearing a miniskirt, because let's look at J-Lo in a miniskirt. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Let's look at Jennifer Aniston in a miniskirt.
Fantastic.
You see? So these are women in their 50s who still look amazing and can pull that off, you know? So I don't really know, but I just there's got to be some kind of boundary. I don't know. Like you have a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. I have 3. I want them to know the difference between looking sexy and thinking that you need to have your boobs out and your ass out at all times to be, or that everything has to be really fitted for you to look cute, right? Like you can't wear this, like, you know, I don't know. Funny things. I guess because maybe I didn't have boobs like when I was younger. My thing was always showing off my legs because that was my asset. Like that was my good asset, was my lower half. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't showing my ass crack or anything like that. But I knew that my legs were nice and muscular. And so usually it's the one thing I get complimented on. Oh my God, those quads. Oh my God, those quads. And I'm
How
like,
much do you squat?
Yeah, those are my quads, bro. You know? But then when you go into a bodybuilding competition, you're uneven. So, you know, it's all right.
You can't please everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, I'm trying to find this clip for you. It's it's like one of the ones that kind of go back in time, and it's black and white. It's from a long time ago, and it's about women. They were making the comparison of like, and you mentioned it perfectly, like the WAP versus like the 60s. And back then, the example was that there was this designer that came out with the first dress that was like a low cut, really, you know, showing cleavage and everything. And the reporters on the street outside of like, let's just say the store, like, you know, outside of the window where they're passing by it and asking women like, what do you think about this, you know, latest design by whoever. And every one of the women were like, no one with any decency would wear this. And they're like, people who wear this would be out of their mind. No one's going to buy this. Right. And then the contrast is like Cardi B and social media and TikTok and you scroll. Obviously, people are going to say, well, it's going to feed you what you look into, but you could just get the app as a new user, and I guarantee you'll be fed 80 or 90% of just women that look, you know, scandalous.
Totally, because even in the popular, what is it called? Explore page or whatever, there's shit on there. Sometimes I'm curious as to like why it's there. I'm like, that's not something I would look at, but okay, it's weird, right?
And then you do once, and it's all you get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was weird, you know. And so that's why I really have laid off the social media. And
it's a double-edged sword.
And listen, my social media numbers have really dropped. I'm at 26.3 now, guys. I went from 26.8 to 26.3 in just a span of a year.
Those are bots.
Okay.
They're all bots.
So, I had more than that. Yeah. So when I announced who I voted for, that was a big drop because I was in the 30s, and I was like, who cares if y'all want to go, right? But now I'm at 26.3, and I get it. I've kind of just told myself, like, if you don't have a point to post, like, I mean, I was just having to find something to post, you know, and it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm not educating you. I'm not informing you. I'm not nothing. So 2023, like I said, Ilse and I talked about and really my focus on my thing is to incorporate my businesses with my personal page. And that's what I'm going to do. And so it is. And if you're going to follow me, great. And if you're not going to follow me, then it's not. Then I'm going to have my true 1,000 fans, you know, and that's all I need, to be honest with you. It's like people who believe in me, support me, and understand what I'm trying to do without having to shake my ass or, you know, do some kind of silly challenge, you know, that's happening. I don't even know what challenges are happening now.
When I hear that phrase, the such and such challenge, I want to literally put a pencil in my ear.
I mean, the fact that kids are dying over these challenges is insane on TikTok. Have you seen that?
I mean,
there's been 2 that I saw within the last month.
Oh, no. I did not.
I don't even know what challenge it was. It was two of them. Oh, it was the one where I guess they like make you faint.
Oh, yeah.
Or they hold you.
They're doing that again?
Yes, that was so fucking elementary school. I know.
How did we survive?
I don't know. I told Pete, I said, I did that. I said, I was in 6th grade. We were doing it to each other and the fucking like in the atrium of our school. And we thought it was hilarious because we would pass out.
I knew kids that did that, dude. I mean, I knew kids that would like staple their arms. They put staples in their arms.
What the fuck?
They'd get like a piece of paper.
I never heard that
and
one.
Like, and it's like,
what?
Yeah. And
Why?
because if you did it, I think if you did it soft enough, it would just go through the skin, but it wouldn't like clamp on both ends like a staple does. And it was just like, I know it was silly shit like that, but ever since I was young, I don't know, most people were like impressed by that, right? Like if you had the class, let's just call him the class clown that would do shit like that. Everybody would be like, ha ha ha, wow, you're so cool, you're so funny. And I would always be like, I'm so unimpressed by this. And there's no way in fucking hell I'm doing that.
I mean, like I said, I just kind of like, I hate it because I don't really know how I just had this conversation yesterday at the store. I was working yesterday and I just kind of said like, I don't want to be the parent that's like, just, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Because I feel like it's going to drive my child to do it more. Because if I think about myself, right, and what my mom would say, don't do this. It was like, oh, whatever. You're so like old fashioned, right? I think for my kids, it's a little bit different because we are hip and up to date.
Yeah.
Because this is what we do for a living. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So we're kind of we do know how to use social media. We do know what our parents didn't. Do you see what I'm saying? So my kids have a different parents in general, period, because we went through every phase. We went through the no internet to the social media to the fancier social media, reality TV. So we lived through all that versus our parents did not. They would live through the radio was TV, you know what I'm saying? Newspaper. Yeah. So it's totally different times. I don't really know where, and while yes and no, Mickey is my job, right? I don't have her full time to where it's like I have control of what she does. You know what I'm saying? So I can't speak on her, but I can speak on my own girls is that I want to try to find a happy medium to where I explain to them in the most, I don't know, maybe like the most modern way of saying like, listen, women are beautiful, right? Because then I tend to feel like I'm sounding very old fashioned. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's okay to do this, but you don't have to go to this extreme, right? Because that's exactly the way my mom was, right? My mom was telling me these things too.
Totally. But you said, you don't want them to say you're so old fashioned, right?
Yeah.
And all the comparisons you were making, our parents in comparison were old fashioned, if that makes sense. Like going back to the 60s, 70s, even 80s, compared to like any of the 2000s, like that is an old, when we go back to like our youth, like early 2000s, 2010s, it's old fashioned. It'll be old fashioned 20 years from now, but like we're still in the modern era. We're still in technology. We're still social media. We get it. Our parents, totally different. So it will be closer in whatever old fashioned is 20 years from now than what we are from our parents.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It's really a really interesting, man, I'm telling you, watch this documentary, guys, because it really just kind of makes you think about women in general. And to be honest with you, it's so sad that as women, we have allowed for the world to tell us and to allow the world to tell us how we should think and feel about certain things. Yeah, girl, women empowerment, because you should be able to pop your PUSSY if you want to, you should be able to, you know what I'm saying?
Look, I'm no feminist soul, but like you go from women, beautiful women or all women, getting exploited in one way or another and people being quiet about it to now being replaced altogether by another demographic. You know what I'm saying?
By a man. Like, so it's like, tough. It's so interesting to me, again, to see like so many women fighting for all this, right? To be able to pop it and show it, right? But you're also allowing for a man to come join this world that so many women fought for. This sexual, and I wonder if he were to still be living, if he would allow for a transsexual
Fuck no.
woman to join the bunnies.
Fuck no. Did you see the video going around over the weekend of the guy that's like, I don't know if he's pretending, but he's saying he has menstrual pains.
Yes.
And he's got his deep ass voice, like this, oh my God, like why does it hurt so much? I don't know why I sound like Mitch McConnell, but yeah. But hey, before we move into that, to go back to the women and girls and our daughters and stuff, why is it, and what do you think about all these toys that look like fucking transgender, pageant parade type people? No offense to anybody listening, but like they're dressed like they got a BBW, they got short shorts, all this makeup, wild hair. You know what I'm saying? Like brats. I don't know if brats. LOLs are another one. Brooklyn loves LOLs, but they're dressed like they're fixing to go pop it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, Penny has this one LOL, and if you take her clothes off, she's got a big old booty.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, I even said, I think I even posted it on my story one time, like, how the fuck this doll has a better body than most of us women walking around right now, you know?
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important to keep your kids occupied. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, keep them in activities. Don't just let them be on social media. Limit what they actually,
Here's a hot take. Don't let them be on social media.
Yeah.
Period.
I saw one meme that said, kids that are basically, you should be in jail for allowing your kid to be on social media.
Bit of an extreme, but I see what they're saying.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I feel like it's extreme too, but they were just basically putting it out there. Like, there's so much your kids are exposed to on social media. It's crazy that parents are not more strict about that.
Yeah, it blows my mind. Like if you're like the way you're saying, like if you're in 2023 trying to influence with education or entertainment your audience, that's one thing. Like if our kids, let's just say that Penny just really gravitates to jiu-jitsu, and she's like, Mom, I want to be one of the best jiu-jitsu players in Texas. And she starts going to competitions and start doing all kinds, and then she posts all of her training videos and her competition videos. She's doing a ton. She's motivating other little girls and other people in general, so on and so forth. You can find a purpose to post that content. But if she's just on there doing TikTok dances and shit, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Brooklyn wants to do the same thing, or she's a musician, or if Weston's some kind of fucking gamer genius or a computer nerd, and he wants to share this stuff on the internet, there's a purpose for that stuff. But if he's on there just fucking twirling his fucking thumbs, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, man, it's really hard. And if women would sit back just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit, and just kind of analyze everything. I'm talking about go back as far as like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s. Now we're even in the early 2000s, it wasn't as crazy to like exposing and being that out there wasn't still even that popular like it is now. It's like less is more now. Like, whenever Kendall Kardashian,
My favorite, by the way.
Is she the model one?
Yeah,
Kendall, right?
The taller, slender
Kendall, when Kendall wore, I think, a shirt or a dress or something like that, where it was see-through and you could see her nipple. So they said that was all planned because I think she had just been like, I guess it was something about a commercial that she had done, and everybody was criticizing her about it. Like, I think it was a Pepsi commercial she did. And so basically that was her way of distracting, the media from continuing to focus on that, about all her fans being pissed about this commercial. The crazy thing though, they were talking about Kris Jenner and how she's got every PR move planned. And when I heard, this was like a gossip video that I watched, so it could just not be all true, right? But then also like said, which then it is true, because I did see the video of Ray J, the guy who Kim did the video with.
Made Kim famous.
Yes. And how he had all the Ray seats, because that was the hashtag Ray seats. Where he said they did 3 videos, him and Kim. The mom watched them. And they did 3 in case the other 2 wouldn't be good enough. That way they had one to choose from. And the mom chose the one that Kim looked the best in. And that's the one that was sold.
Can we sit in the pocket here for a little bit? I want to get your thoughts on, because I don't know a whole lot about, and as somebody who's a big fan of the show, Marisol, I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot about her history. You know, I know that she was married to the attorney guy, right?
Chris?
Yeah, Kris Jenner was married to
Yes, to Rob Kardashian.
Kardashian, who was Khloe.
One of O.J. Simpson's lawyers and also best friend.
Right.
Really good friend.
That's about the extent of what I know. And what I'm trying to get at is that, like, when you know that a mom does that with her daughter, right, and then plans it all out, and since then has arguably had every part of their lives kind of ready to, it's fabricated and ready to go. It's in the barrel. It's ready to be shot, right? Now, how do you, as a mom, as a woman, as a wife, as all these things, kind of like, how do you interpret all that? Like, how do you?
So the part that she watched her daughter have sex with this guy, and this was how this was their plan for her to become famous.
Yeah,
is fucking disgusting, right? I don't want to watch my daughter have sex with anybody, right? Unless, you know, and I don't want to watch it, but I'd like for the person that she has sex with to be the person that she's married to, right? Like, that's what I hope for. I hope she's not fucking 10 different guys to find love. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the same time, people are finna be mad. But damn, she set up all her kids. If she died tomorrow, not her children, not her grandchildren are gonna ever be without. And to some may think like, so is life about money? No. But life is about, hopefully, for any parent to create generational wealth so that your kids can continue to this wealth in within your family, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be you having sex, right? Like a sex video.
Yeah.
I'm just talking in general, you know, like, at least that's my goal. I don't want my girls to I don't want them to have an easy life, but I also don't want them to, well, my parents didn't buy me a house, or my parents didn't leave me this, or my parents didn't leave me that, you know, like, I just want them to understand that there's some goodies for you once we pass away, but those goodies will only be there for you if you still have to work at it. You still have to continue this generational wealth. It doesn't stop here. You know, you don't just use it and then that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, thanks, parents. And then, so what are you going to do for your kids? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I hope to teach them the value of, I don't even want to say $1 because $1 right now is worth nothing. So, but, you know, I want to teach them hard work. I want to teach them, you know, finding what you like to do in life and able to make money out of something you like versus going to school just to do something because it's going to bring you money and that's it. That was one of the arguments with my parents and I. And that was because when I wanted to be in the criminal justice program, they're like, they don't even make enough money. They don't. And to me, sadly, it was always, oh, I'm sure I can find a side hustle because that's kind of it's always been my mentality. And I just thought, but at least I'll go to work and enjoy my job. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, like I wanted to be able to go to work every day and like my job. I didn't want to have to get up. Like, for example, if I became a probation officer, because that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with the youth, right? I was probably not going to make more than $42,000 a year, right? Even with a master's degree, I think they make like 50 something.
Wild.
I mean, it's good for a single person, but what does that do once?
Yeah, don't even get a pet.
Yeah, I mean, can't do anything. But I felt like, well, I mean, I'm going to be able to do other things, you know? So it was like, I was okay with it, right? I mean, I was making that already working at the call center and I was going to school to make less than what I was making at a call center.
That's where you're like, what am I doing in my life?
And that's when I realized, like, yeah, so I'm not going to go to school right now. I dropped out of college again. This was like the second time now. And I was like, I was making $48,000 a year working at a call center, bro.
In your early mid-20s?
Early 20s, like 21, 22, 23, like 24. I had no business. I went back to school at 25. And that's when I was like, and that's because I got laid off. And I was like, oh shit, no one hired. This is when degrees were really important. Like you had to have a degree. So it didn't matter that I had 7 years of customer service management experience. They still needed that degree.
So dumb.
Can you believe that? So it didn't matter. So anywhere I was applying to, it was like, do you have a degree? And I was like, nope. I was like, this is just I moved up. This is what I was able to do while I was working there. So this is how I was making that, and $48,000 in the 2000s is a lot of money. Sorry, guys.
No,
right
for sure.
now it's like, it's pennies right now, right?
Tough.
But back then it was a lot of money. And we're just talking 22 years ago.
Yeah. I was reading somewhere that somebody was doing research on universities, and they were saying how the pace at which technology has allowed people to learn things and become familiarized with things it's outpacing what anybody could go to school for and learn and then come out of and make a livable wage that's not obviously a doctor, scientist and lawyer, that kind of thing. And even then, like, good luck. Like, being a lawyer that's like a super successful lawyer, there's certain parts of those industries that are just like, you got to know somebody, like it's a family law firm or it's friends of a friend. But it's crazy because if you think about it, if you want to learn tech, you want to learn business, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn whatever, you can learn it so much faster online with credible resources. Obviously, you just don't believe everything you see on Wikipedia. But like for our kids, it has never been less important to focus on a master's or any kind of degree of that sort, as long as you're encouraging them to learn skills as they grow up.
Unless they're going to be in the medical field.
Yeah, of course. Like medical engineering,
Yeah, I think those are the only ones that I would be like, oh, okay. But if you're going to go tell me you're going to go get a sociology degree, I'm just going to be like, yeah. So I'm not going to get into debt to pay for your school because you're probably not going to be able to do a lot. And you don't need a degree pretty much right now to do a lot of this social work stuff anymore.
Really?
Unless you're going to be like a director or, I have a girlfriend who works, she's not a social worker. She's a social worker assistant. But when she reaches, I think she said she's got 2 more years, and that puts her at the tier of experience, what did she call it? Experienced, caseworkers, something like that. Now she should in a position become available. She can now become a caseworker. That's because they don't have enough CPS people working. Okay. She can become a caseworker and work under another CPS worker who has the degree and still make the same money as the CPS worker who's got the degree.
It's all fucked. It's all backwards.
If you kind of think about it, she's going to make 6 years in 2 years. So I guess if you went and got a master's degree, that would be 6 years, right?
And a lot of the times too, when you get to those positions, don't they like pay for continuous education?
They do. So there's more training. It's not really, she hasn't said anything about going back to college. Hers is more like children education type of courses that she has to take, but a lot of them end up being online for her.
For sure.
Like, because I've called her one time. She's like, "Girl, I gotta call you back. I'm in the middle of whatever," and I'm like, "All right, bye." But
like how many things?
It's just so different right now.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then I read this thing about HISD.
Anytime you start a sentence like that, it's not good. Also, should we go ahead and tell people now that we're giving them a 2-hour free episode this week?
2-hour free episode, guys. Listen, if you haven't come over to our Discord or to our Patreon, I invite you today. This is your invitation today to come join the Patreon. So we have a lot of goodies happening in 2023, and John and I are having our meeting this Friday, so I'm really excited about that.
Nice.
And discuss what new things we'll be offering into the Discord. So if you haven't upgraded yet, guys, if you're still in the $1 and $5 tier, if you're a comadre or what is the $1 tier called? I don't even know.
It's just HERR Lounge access. So access to the lounge.
So if you have a HERR Lounge access and a comadre and you want to come on over to be able to have we're having our first virtual mixer on January 17th, and just kind of do some goal settings with everybody and, kind of just talk about what their plans are for 2023, and we'll already be in it, but we kind of just wanted to give everybody a chance to settle in. You know how it is, like kids are going back to school and got to get shit, got to get back into the routine. Kind of figured that in the middle of January be a good day to.
Yeah, some people are taking vacation that extends to the 1st.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to do all that to people, but come join us, guys. It's a really tight knit community. Again, I am going to close it at 50 people for the first. To be considered the original HERR Lounge members, and then after that we will have another Discord that'll join there, and you will still have access to a lot of stuff there. Don't worry, but my first 50 would be a part of my creative team. Will be a part of my what goes on the Discord, guys. So they're gonna be those are my patronas, and my patronas get to have a lot of say because they're the patronas. So I work for them.
Literally.
It's literally
Patreon.com/HERR Lounge podcast.
Yeah. So
link in the description.
For sure, come on over, guys. I really think if you're looking for, seriously, and not joking, if you're really looking for women empowerment, women encouragement, I really encourage you to come over to the Patreon. I think we've done a very, very good job of having some amazing women come on over, and so I'm excited. All the ladies that are there now, we just got it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Somebody helps everybody.
It does. When I need a fresh breath of air, not gonna lie.
From y'all's Patreon is somewhere else.
Ours is everywhere.
I couldn't have it like that.
It's when I need a breath of fresh air. I'll just go ahead and just unclick that RPT logo, and I'll click on the pink logo and say, "What's going on in HERR Lounge?" Because it's literally like a lounge. Like when you walk into a coffee shop, there's a certain ambiance to it, certain jazz music, coffee.
That's what needs
good.
to be playing in my lounge.
100%.
100%.
Like when I go to YouTube and I want to read, I want to focus, it's always like coffee house jazz, coffee house
me
music.
too. Yeah,
all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's like when you click on the HERR Lounge Discord channel or on that server, and it's just like, oh, okay, helpful, fun, jovial. I'm gonna get this screenshotted and sent to me in the RPT Discord and be like, Rob the fucking trader, he's talking shit about our channel.
Somebody's going to do it.
So, of course.
There are 3 TIA members in my Discord as well. And they'll tell you, our Discord is way more laid back. I also didn't want any negativity. That's what I didn't want. And not that it's happening in y'all's, but I think y'all are rougher with each other.
For sure. That's dudes.
And I just, I don't know how the few women that are over there do it. Because I'd be
they're
pissed.
savages too.
They
are
savages. Yeah, they are.
Don't let Just here and a couple of the other ones, Chris is in there too.
Oh, there you go. See?
There's plenty of them that they...
And they'll tell you that it's a totally different vibe in we have a Bible study in mine. I don't think y'all have a Bible study section.
Absolutely not. Yeah. We have a degenerates room.
We have a HERR survival, we have a book club channel. We have a beauty channel. I mean, seriously, y'all.
If we have one, that might be a problem. Then we're going to be feeding into the other world that we're not really.
Y'all's beauty channel is going to be about how to tuck it. Tuckers.
How dare you? TIA Tuckers.
When they act like little bitches, that's what y'all should say. You're a TIA Tucker. That's hilarious.
That's funny. That might be the new hashtag TIA Tucker.
I got jokes sometimes. But yes, so come on over, guys. Patreon.com/HERR Lounge podcast. Come be a part of HERR World. And it'll be probably something good for you to start in 2023, especially if you're looking for encouragement, a support group, and just, like-minded women, I feel.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, you were texting me about the paper-like covers for your iPad and the stylus and stuff. Yeah. Were you getting a little more? You finally getting more digitized? What was happening?
I'm going to try it this year, even though I already bought a 2023 actual planner. Which, by the way...
Perfect segue.
We will be bringing a planner, HERR Lounge planner. So it's not going to be called HERR Lounge, but we're going to be having a planner. So I'm really excited about it.
To see how that turns out. Yeah. I've seen early incarnations of it. It's pretty cool.
It's not completely done, and Don just kind of tapped me on the shoulder today, like, "So how's it going?" And I'm just like,
Great impression of my wife, by the way.
Why is she texting me?
Why is she on my back all the time?
Oh my God. I don't want to answer this. But I am pretty much done with that. I just need November, December, and October, November, December's calendar to be put in there.
How many physical planners and books and things do you carry still? Like journals?
I have a journal and one planner.
Just one journal, one planner?
Yeah, I used to do 2 planners. One was for myself and then myself and family. And then one was just tour and Chingo's stuff.
And then a journal.
And then my journal, yes.
To just write, thoughts and daily
ideas.
entries?
No, it's more like things that it's more of jotting down. Like if I have an idea or I see something, I'll write it down there. Or if like I'm not an artist, but if I get an idea, I'll kind of like sketch it out there, So it's more of my, I don't really a
brain
sketchbook.
Dump?
It's a brain dump. Yeah,
it's a brain dump. Okay.
Brain dump. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Joe Breezy moment.
And it's funny because sometimes I'll use it for church. So when you flip it on the other side, so I kind of did, when you flip it like reversible. So when you do this side, it's all like business, but if you flip it on the other side backwards, it's for the church, my church stuff. It's just so that I can keep everything in one journal. I don't want to have like 100 journals. I do, but I do have what are those? What is that brand called? They're super thin in their paper. They sell them in packets, like sometimes at Barnes and Noble. Damn, they're an actual.
Books?
They're actually kind of like composite books, but they're just regular
composition books, right?
Yes, but they're itty bitty thin. They're about this thin. I have some in the back, but those were the ones that I would keep for her lounge. I'd keep that for her apparel. I'd keep that for Chingo Bling's brand. And so each one would have it because I didn't want to mix anything. I even had a tour one where I'd keep all the notes, like of everything going on in the tour. Like if I liked this hotel, if I didn't like this hotel, how I like the comedians. It was kind of just notes for me. And, I kind of stopped doing that. It was just kind of like, oh my God, I can't keep up with this many journals. So I bought one big one. Excuse me, sorry. One big one. And I started keeping it in there, but it does kind of suck though to have it all in one.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work that because I compartmentalize everything in my brain. Everything works in sections. That's also how I do things on pen and paper is in sections or in categories, not sections, but categories. So I thought to myself, okay, perhaps I need to start using the iPad as my whole planner because I was canceling subscriptions and I didn't realize that I didn't cancel one that I toured or I did a trial for a planner.
I hate when that happens.
And I paid for the whole year.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, now I'm going to have to use you. I was so pissed.
Do you know what kind of app? I mean, can you say what kind of app it was?
It was a planner app.
Oh, a planner app. Okay.
Yeah. So you just make it. It's for you to design your. Actually, I think Just Here was the one that told me about it. And can't find it, but
no worries.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna try it this year. I'm not going to say that I probably will be that successful at it, right? But I am going to try it because what I would like to do, you know how you have your iPad sitting up like that? I would like to have my iPad sitting up like that on my nightstand so that in the morning, the first thing I do is I open it up and it's on my calendar and we already know what's happening for the day. Does that make sense? And we kind of check off as things are happening. I'd like that for it to be the new system or even in my bathroom because we kind of like the way our bathroom is like one of those long double sink thing. In the middle, there's nothing there. So I thought maybe that's where I put the iPad. And that way, while we're brushing our teeth and doing all that, it's like, okay, do you know what's happening today? Here's what's happening today. And even if Pete like wanted to scroll and see what's happening today, it's there, for.
Yeah.
I honestly don't need it because I have everything memorized. But he does because he doesn't have everything memorized ever. And it's the same thing every day of the week. But, and he's like, you have it super memorized. And I told him the other day, I said, I can't even be mad at you because that's not the way your brain works. Yeah. Mine does. My brain is on responsible mom mode all day, every day, It
don't stop.
It don't stop. So I'm going to try it. I don't know, Rob. We'll talk about this again later, guys, to see if I was successful at I ordered it.
I'm a huge fan of using certain tools for certain jobs, right? So just like with everything else in life.
You didn't always use.
I didn't.
You went digital when?
This past year, I guess like probably September. Because I never even had an iPad. I was always of the like, and a lot of people listening have businesses and side hustles and stuff, so this might help you. But like, I always want. It's not even just the saving money part. You're like, that's a big expense. Like you buy an iPad, it's $700, on the low end, and then like $1,200, $1,300 on the high end. And you're like, no, I can do it with my phone. It's a bigger iPhone, right? Basically, it's a bigger iPhone. Or I can do it on my computer. You know, even though it's a little slow, I should probably upgrade my laptop. But now I won't. So then now it's just specifically for what I use it for. For me, it's note taking and research. There's no social apps on the iPad.
I don't have any social apps.
Yeah.
Oh, I have YouTube. That's about it.
That's different. That's also pretty much research, if you're being, if we're being honest. And then the phone is for all the posting. Like you can't really post easily on your laptop or the iPad. It's got to be on your phone. And then the computers themselves are for the bigger stuff, production or editing or whatever else. If you already have all your pictures and stuff saved on there, obviously it's dumped on the computer. But like you need a specific tool for the job. And I feel like if you have an iPad or if you're fortunate enough to be able to get one, it will play a role in your creativity and in your productivity. Once you start going down the rabbit hole of, Santa Claus brought Dawn an iPad.
Dawn
What?
just told me she went down the productivity rabbit hole. She's like, I've got so many apps. I'm like, no.
Bro, I mean, she spent...
Because that means
so
I'm probably
long.
going to get on it too. You know, that's just the thing. When you're a business owner, finding productivity apps or avenues is just like, oh my God, yes, this is what I needed to just create some shit. You know what I'm saying?
I actually, and I have it here pulled up. I went through, so I started the weekend Saturday. There's a couple of channels that I follow that are so good at giving you information of up to date on like what's happening, not just trends, but like with social, like with what's going on, like where's metaverse or where's AI or like how to implement it with YouTube channels and podcasts and whatever. So I went through this whole like 40-minute masterclass. I started I woke up before everybody on Saturday. I was like, as soon as the kids get up, it's harder to like do any work, which I don't want to anyway. I want to try to spend time with them, which I did. But I spent 45 minutes and I took a shit ton of notes on here. And if you want to kind of ping pong about some of this stuff, if you're interested, I feel like if this would be the premium episode anyway, our entrepreneurs in the group would probably appreciate this. But there's this analogy that they were using. Do you like Cinnabon?
I love.
You love Cinnabon? Perfect. Okay, so they were using it as let's call it the, so first of all, vertical.
I'm trying to find the recipe to make the frosting.
If you find it.
I did. I found it on Pinterest, but I've made it. And
No?
so there's an ingredient that's missing. I don't know what it is.
Was it close?
It was close.
Okay.
Yeah, it is very close. But there's still more. I don't know if it's because maybe they use bigger machines to like make their frosting. I don't know, but it was not as smooth and thin as theirs. Mine was still a little bit thicker.
Dude, a good Cinnabon.
I know.
Oh my God.
I love Cinnabon. Anyway,
So what they were calling it, so first of all, vertical video is king. All these years of using social and the different platforms, from Instagram starting as pictures to then more video and then now Reels and now you got YouTube Shorts and TikTok, the whole thing. It's all about video and everybody's watching their video like this. So vertical is going to be king. We've known this. Juan's been talking about it for a long time. Our shorts are blowing up on HERR Lounge and on RPT. So it revolved around that. And the analogy they're using is Cinnabon and calling vertical video snackable content because it's what it is, right? So when you look at a Cinnabon, can you break down the different types of Cinnabon options at a Cinnabon? I haven't been in a long time, so can you think of them what they are?
are you talking about the cuts or what's on the toppings?
The cuts, like the sizes,
Yes.
basically.
So there's the swirls. They're like little. They're cut more like longer cylinders.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that one.
And then
actually.
there's cubes. There's smaller ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're cut like that. And then there's the big one. And then there's the smaller one. And then, well, I'm sorry, the cylinder ones are the kind of more, they're braided, whatever. They look almost like a pretzel, but they're not. But I don't know.
Like the twists?
Yeah,
the
twist. There you go. Cinnamon twist. That's what they are. Okay.
At like Taco Bell?
Yeah, but they're the bread.
Oh,
But they're
okay.
the bread.
I've
They're
never had
not.
those.
And you can dip them. I think that's it. I don't remember the rest.
So see if this sounds familiar. So they have and I'm going to tie it into how it goes for social media. So the classic roll.
Which is a big one.
Which is a big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be your long form content. The podcast, right? Your hour long, half hour long. That's the classic roll. Your the center roll is considered one too. You can just get the center of the Cinnabon.
I had no idea.
The center roll.
Oh, you can. Those are the ones they cut up into pieces, though.
Not yet. No. Now they offer those as a separate option, right? So the classic roll would be your long form hour podcast. The center of the roll would be your clips, the 10, like you do a good hot segment of the podcast. You 5, 10, 15 minutes from there. That's the center. And then you have the mini bonds, which are the snackable 60-second, longer Instagram video, longer reel if possible. And then you have, lastly, the Bond Bites. So the Bond Bites are the vertical video, 8-second rule or less, 15-second rule, where it's like super easy to consume because, I've said this for a long time, but it's held at 8 seconds. The average human's attention span is 8 seconds. So if you can't get them in the first 8 seconds of a video, of a short, of a whatever, you're probably going to lose them. And that's kind of how the whole like little masterclass started. And when you think about it like that, and you're talking with Ilse about your 2023 plans, it's like how, like now I'm always going to be, for the first quarter of the year at least, I'm going to be thinking about Cinnabon. Like, is this the middle of the roll, the big roll, the snackable, the bond bites? Like,
that's a good,
you know what I mean?
Good one,
it's really, really good.
So we're staying away from graphics. That's number one. So
It's
we're not doing graphics
to be
anymore.
found. No.
She's like, I don't even think they're purposeful anymore for you. They never get any likes anyway. I get 1 like on it. So everything is reels and pictures that are turned into reels. So that's all we're doing for 2023.
So a couple of tips here for the other entrepreneurs. Like we have, who was it that you mentioned that has a business, Salud?
Thank you.
Who has a hard time talking about them, like promoting themselves, which a lot of people do.
I think a lot of people do.
It might have been Christy or somebody who has a business, right? Let's just use.
Well, Christy was one, and then the girl, gosh, I can't remember her name. I think she makes like strawberries. Alicia? No.
She had one of our.
She is.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's pretty bad, guys. Anais.
Oh, Anais. Yes.
And then who is the newest one with the bows? Funny that I know their businesses that I can't remember their name. That's awful.
We should also say, and we're going to do a lot better of this, is like in the description, those people that have businesses, if they're patronas, their at handles and the businesses are in the description.
Yes.
So scroll down every episode to see.
And you'll see new businesses that are patronas, and they're hustlers and doing shit. You know?
Tips for mastering the 8-second mindset. So giving people those little bond bites of information are, people are interested in short, not long intros. So if you're doing something, just get right to whatever it is. Have you ever watching a YouTube video and you're like, motherfucker, can you get to it, please?
Probably most of the time.
Yeah. So that's another thing people have to work on that, right? Less talk, more action. So going back to it, like if Marisol is doing something that's talking about business, apparel, whatever, people like want to hear you talk about that. Give me that. Don't give me all the fluff at the beginning, right? Or even in the middle. 3 is time, trim the fluff, which I just said. 4, B-roll. So arrange, change, scene, change, reset, attention. So if you're doing something, and Nilsa does a really good job of this, she knows how to like edit your reels to where it's like, I mean, it's good and they're short, but and it looks simple, but it does take time to come up with these ideas and put it together. But when I see your bag or your cup or the reverse thing, you know, all those little ideas, they're short, but man, they make you stop. You're like, this is cool, right? And I'm sure y'all talk more about that with her.
The only second thing about those things right now is that you can't put money behind those yet.
To boost them,
which sucks because I'm able to boost a picture, and that's what I used to use to promote also. And usually for me, it's not to go like my page. I always put to go to my website because I want you to go shop. I don't want you to go do, which by the way, HERR Apparel is having a 50% off sale, which is I've never done before.
Unheard of. And
a lot of the new items I'm putting at 50% off. Yes, I know a lot of the stuff is sold out. I knew. But you guys sold it out. So I don't know what to say. So thank you for sure. That's what I will say. But secondly, everything is 50% off because I'm trying to bring in all the new inventory because I have a lot of new inventory at the Hive because it moves so fast there, right? And it doesn't move as fast online. So I'm just trying to get, some of this older...
What a great problem to have.
I know, it's a really great problem to have. But a lot of the older items are not... I have older items on my website. So I'd like for those to move and get out of my studio so that I can bring in my new merch. And so if you're looking for gifts or, just gifts for yourself, 50% off. I mean, I'm talking about some items will be $7, $20.
End of the year sale.
So end of the year sale for sure. And I'm having it all the way through December 31st. So
very cool.
Come on over, www.herappareltx.com. Use promo code HELLO2023 to get 50% off your entire purchase.
Oh, snap. So AI, Sol, what do you think about artificial intelligence as a whole?
I'm scared of it. I don't want it.
Okay. Well, that's what most people say, but we have to embrace it. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, I've seen some, I guess, meta.
So better question is, what do you think of, what is, when I say AI, what do you think?
I think of like the robots. I think of like the fake people they're creating, which
is true, yeah.
People you chat with on your website when you're like, chat with us.
Yeah.
It's not really anybody. It's an
right.
AI
that you program,
Yeah,
right? But so there's still a human involved. But
Kinda.
the next kind of sort of until it becomes its own personality and takes over in 30 days. But one of the next point of the whole thing for our other entrepreneurs and hustlers is embracing AI. And perfect examples of this was, and if you want more info on this particular topic, because this blew my mind, text me or tag me in the Discord. Tag me in the Discord and say, I want to know more about the AI chats.
So is this already premium, or are we leaving this for?
Oh no, this everybody gets the,
okay, got it.
It's a 2-hour episode. It's the last episode of the year. We're gonna do the same thing for RPT. You're gonna get a 2-hour free episode, and then we'll resume all of our premium episodes for the first week of 2023. But I feel like this gives you a lot of value to go ahead and just sign up for the Patreon, pick a tier, and jump in. Even if you just jump into the server and you don't jump into the premium content, you can work your way there whenever your budget allows. But if you're like Sol or myself or whoever, and you need to write captions, you need to write scripts maybe because you want to recite something, you're talking about products, you want to be a product reviewer, or Marisol is doing a reel about her stuff and she wants it to sound really, really digestible to people on the internet, I found this AI chat software. There's tons of them out there. You can Google it and you'll get a plethora, but this one right here, dude, I typed in, just to use it as an example, a script. So I said, write me a script. This is exactly what I wrote. Write a script about the importance of podcasting in 2023 in a chatty voice. That was my sentence. Okay, here you are. Starts typing. I'm going to show it to you after this.
Stop.
It typed me a paragraph script that chef's kiss. And then I said, because you can do this, add more to the script. Okay, let's add more to it. And also statistics, this, that, why you want to, the importance of it. I said, looks good. Add a little bit more. Okay. I had a 2-page script that could convince you of why your business needs a podcast or why your brand should be podcasting. And I did it in 18 seconds. I did it in 20 seconds.
That's going to be live.
And it took...
That's where we're going to have dumb kids because they're not going to write anything anymore.
But also, if you can empower, and here's another thing, it's not perfect, so you always have to fact check it. So if you were doing a product review, maybe Marisol had the best baby milker, what do you call them?
Breast pump.
Baby milker.
Milker, okay.
And you wanted to do a product review of it and have people buy it because you had a promo code for it, and you had AI write you the script, you would have to go fact check, like, is it right? Are all the stats about it and the whatever correct? So you still have to put a little bit of effort into it. It's not perfect. But it's all about condensing the amount of time you're doing some of these things. So when it comes to writing descriptions, captions, scripts even, bro, it's a game changer. Like that would have taken...
Especially for captions, man. I have a hard time sometimes with captions. How can I get creative with this caption? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, by the way, totally off subject. A customer came in during the holidays and she was like, who has the HERR brand? Whose brand is HERR? And I'm in the back. I forgot what I was doing. And I'm like, that's mine. I'm like... what are they going to complain about? That's my first thing. They're like, oh my God, I want all your stuff. I was like, oh, okay. And it's just like, that's my last name. Her last name is HERR. HERR.
No way.
It's her husband's German. And I said, well, how do you pronounce it? She's just, HERR. Just like the way you're saying it. I was like, what? She goes, your last name must be Herrera. I'm like, yep. And I said, that's where it came from. She goes, oh my God, anything that you have stamped with HERR, I want it. So she just went through my stuff and looked for things that had the HERR logo on it. And so she purchased it just because it said HERR on it.
That's so cool.
Is that not funny? I thought it was cool too. I was like, oh, let me print some more shit, ma'am. So you can, she's like, I'm gonna tell my daughter about it. I'm gonna tell my niece. I'm telling everybody.
Yeah, do TikToks and reels about it.
Please do it because HERR, I need you, all your HERR family to get it.
HERR,
anyway.
the HERR World Soldiers.
Yeah.
The next thing was you've got some of the other AIs that are able to make. So people like a week or two ago, that AI picture on Instagram went
That's
super
what I'm
viral.
talking about. Yes, that's what I was. And that is scary to me. I think that's what I'm most afraid of is how different people are going to be the way we interact. I really enjoy people. I really like being at the store, and I've never worked retail in my life, just so y'all know. So I've always done customer service, but I've never worked retail. But, and you could probably, attest to this, is the fact that you had a brick and mortar. So you know what it's like. But I felt like when I'm there, I'm able to understand customers, like what they're looking for, like different, because women are so different. Everybody's vibe is different. What they like, what they purchase, what they shop for is so different, And it helps me understand. So while I'm sitting there, I'm able to understand like, okay, so I see they're buying a lot of this. This is not really selling. I'm talking about my stuff in particular, no one else's things, right? I also learned from one of the girls that works that has her stuff there, which I had no idea. She was a purchaser for Foley's, aka Macy's, guys. For those of you who don't know Essonette, because she makes fun of me. I still call it Foley's.
No, you don't.
Yep, my sister. It drives my sister bananas.
That drives me nuts too.
She's like, my mom went and got because I had that like candy theme, and I guess Macy's had a sale on all that stuff, and my mom bought me some, and I said, "Oh, did you go with mom to Foley's today?" She goes, "Oh my God, if you fucking say Foley's one more time,
you can't say Foley's and AI in the same sentence anymore."
She's like, "I swear to you." I said, "Okay, Macy's, but you know what I'm talking about." I'm like, "Dang, man." Anyway, why was I saying that?
Fuck.
Dang it. What were we talking about?
Just before that, we're talking about the AI pictures. That's why your concern was we're talking about.
Oh, so. I was saying Foley's.
That was off subject. Artificial intelligence, pictures.
Oh, working at the retail place.
Yes.
So this girl that I know, one of the partners there, she used to work for Foley's back in the days, and she was a purchaser. And so she said the rule for retail is you switch out things every 21 days, which is the reason why you see new products. If you go to a store, which I don't go to a physical store as much anymore, so I can't really pay attention. But if you go to a physical store, you'll notice that every 21 days they're putting new items out, and that's why a lot of stuff you'll see, like, I don't know if you've ever bought something and then you're like, fuck, I just bought that like last month and I paid full price and now it's on sale. Mm-hmm. Well, that's why. It's because they're cycling in the new, because that's how fast fashion comes out, or new colors or whatever. So when she said that, I was like, so I'm supposed to buy new items every 21 days. I'm like, damn, I'm not a Foley's or a Macy's or a Dillard's or any of that. She goes, no, here's what you do. And I said, so what do you do with this? She goes, you put stuff on sale, and then basically, like, when it doesn't sell, you go put it back for regular. I mean, she told me all the tricks, and I was like, fuck. What really needs to be out there is a retail psychology like workshop, because they go based on how people work off a pattern. Yeah. Which obviously, this is why I'm saying an AI would figure these things out. And I'm wondering, I bet you anything, people like your Abercrombies, all those people have to use things like this that will tell them, like, I assume this is how it's going to help them. It's like, okay, customers are buying this or not buying this. Yes, get this. Yeah. No, don't get that. This is a new fashion. Get it in this color, in this color. And it's like, but what I love being at the store and why I like being there is because I really like the customer interaction. I like talking to them. A lot of them don't like to talk, but I like talking to them. I like to see what's happening. And I think it's important. I think that whether it's an online store for you or not, you really need to pay attention. Like, sadly, because at the very beginning, when I opened up my store online, I knew who my regular customers were and who were always buying from me by name because I worked it, right? Now I couldn't tell you that, you know what I'm saying? But when I first started my online store, it was always like, oh, I know this person. Oh, I know this person. And because I knew they were ordering from me again, I'd send them free items, or maybe like something that I was going to drop and they haven't had it yet. And I just would put a note on there. Thank you for being an exclusive customer. Here's our drop for next month. I did that for a little while. And so I kept trying to get creative, and then those creative juices died because it was just too hard to handle, like, to continue to do that stuff. But point of it is that I think AI has a lot of benefits, but it is still scary at the same time, because I feel like we will be different individuals, different humans. We won't be the same anymore. No.
We're already way past that, though, if we're being honest.
I mean, yeah, because like that girl, that little Michaela AI robot thing.
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck's getting paid for her music?
Oh, I don't know.
She's a total artist now.
Yeah.
And she does tours, Rob.
I didn't know that. I do want to mention, though, when you were talking about the selling and the what you said, like the psychology, like, I'm sure it's out there. We should find it, because that is really interesting to research. Because I remember even taking, I don't know if I took these classes in like actual school, but there are dedicated resources for that. For
there has to be.
Yeah, for sure. The first thing I tell people, entrepreneurs and anybody that is talking about starting a business or has one, is that, and we all do this, we all put our buying behaviors on our potential customers. And you can't do that. Is the price too high? Who's going to want to buy this? When do they buy? Like, you can't put our own, like if you have a shopping behavior, put it on the customer. Like, it's not the way it works. Because you might also catch them, like, let's just say one batch of customers catches your sale and the other batch of customers doesn't care that it's on sale, but they want the expensive one that's on sale. Like, you just don't know like what cycle of the buying process that person's in. They might have come across disposable income. They might have got a promotion or whatever. So all that is just so, so many variables when it comes to selling and pricing your stuff, which I know you can attest to also, is hard, because you're like, how premium is premium, right?
You have no idea. That is probably the hardest thing. And guys,
today's price is not yesterday's price.
Man, and here's what it breaks my heart when my own soldiers say, damn, you didn't provide any extra larges this time or 2X this time. And I can't emphasize enough, I don't know what's happening in the retail world. I really don't know. But getting a hold of an extra large or a 2X is almost close to impossible. I don't know if it's because I have now started to use everybody's sick in my house, guys. So I think now I'm probably getting it.
Oh, great. Good to know.
Yeah.
2 hours into this podcast.
Sorry.
With 5 more to go today.
Yeah. So I think that what I've noticed here lately, why am I forgetting everything, Rob? What the hell?
It's one of those.
Jeez, y'all. Really? Oh my God, I'm really embarrassed right now because I just sneezed and I forgot what I was talking about.
You sneezed your idea out of your head. No, you're talking about the 2X, and because you're starting to use what?
Okay, so I have started to use an app where you as a wholesaler have access to a shitload of vendors, okay? I never used to use that before. I have one.
Damn, girl.
I know one particular person I deal with and one particular brand that I used to deal with just for apparel, for athletic apparel. And then one particular wholesaler for blanks, right? To make stuff like this, right? And because now I have access to like actual fashion clothes, right? So I've now started to outsource to that because I want to be a place where women can buy, what they call fast fashion, right? Which means it's in style right now, but not in style, in a couple of months, whatever it is. But what no one understands is that I get it now, Rob, why a lot of stores don't offer a size 10, a 12, a 14. If you go to a lot of stores, I think even Zara's stops like at a 12, if I'm not mistaken. And it's because whoever they're going to purchase from, right? Wherever their purchaser goes, their brand just doesn't go past a certain size. And a lot of these wholesalers don't want to deal with bigger sizes. It's almost like the sizes they don't sell enough of.
Yeah.
So they don't fuck with it. I want to add shoes. A lot of and I think about myself because I am a 5.5, right? 6 and some shoes, right? Mostly 5.5 and 6. But a lot of shoe people do, whenever you go to a store, and because probably anyone listening just may not have the same problem I do because you're probably not as short as I am. But if you are, then finding a size 5.5 is very hard when you go to buy shoes, right? Because it's not a very common size. So for example, when I go and I've been looking for shoes, if I am going to model my own shoe and it doesn't fit me, how crazy is that?
Right.
So now it's like it holds me back from buying it because I'm the model for my brand, and I could easily just get someone else to do it, but you guys don't like it. And I've seen that, you guys. I post someone else wearing my shit. I'll use a model. I'll pay somebody, and y'all don't buy it.
You know what we were gonna have to start doing is you're gonna start using AI generated models,
right?
And I swear that's actually the next thing on the thing when it comes to AI.
That would make my life easier.
Yeah. So one of the biggest trends is going to be, and you're probably already starting to see it now, is AI generated thumbnails. AI generated thumbnails and like cover, like,
holy smokes.
You know what I mean? So I have started seeing it after I watched it. But even before I watched it, I noticed, I was like, man, these colors look so vibrant, and the numbers look so vibrant, you know, on the episode numbers for these things or whatever. And then I went through this whole fucking class thing, and I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Because when you're in a sea of similar thumbnails, how do you stand out? And eventually you'll see everybody use AI, but how do you use, like, how do your colors and your patterns match your brand to stand out in the AI generated thumbnail with all the other AI generated thumbnails?
Sure.
So when it comes to model pictures and whatever, like I saw some great examples of people that would use, you know, you take, and Chingo did this thing with Danny Brown, there's like a thumbnail station afterwards. Either you take a really good thumbnail out of the video, which is always a good idea because it feels like it's a part of the video, or you go take one afterwards in front of a different scenery or whatever, and then you make that into an AI picture. I mean, it just does something too. You see one and you're like, man, that looks obviously not real, but it looks really cool and close to real. And it's vibrant and it sticks out. So maybe doing that with, you know, with apparel and models.
Would be great because I just sometimes don't have time to do it. That's why a lot of times, that's my thing though, but that's for 2023 and we'll talk about that later because these are things that I need to deal with. And I think that I would like to make a quick other video for my patronas as to start off for 2023. And we can end this one.
Okay.
So that they get some exclusive, something exclusive to start off the year. So Friday would be technically the 31st. So I'd like to kick it in with them. So anyway, guys, if you haven't come on over to our Discord once again, or Patreon, to be honest with you, not so much of the Discord, you join the Patreon, you have access to the Discord already. So come on over. It's patreon.com/HERR Lounge Podcast. And come and be a part of our world. And if you are looking for after Christmas sales, HERR Apparel has everything on sale, 50% off. Use promo code HELLO2023 and go ham on shopping. So thank you guys so much for listening. I think this would be a very good episode by itself, Rob. Like us talking about all this stuff that you learned today as an exclusive one for our patrons, only because I feel like there's a lot of entrepreneurs on there who could benefit from that. All this info.
Okay.
I do. Because I think a lot of them struggle with putting themselves out there. That's one thing that they struggle with. And I think a lot of times, and we're going to end this, I know, but because we have another podcast to do, and that's why I'm kind of, yeah. I have that problem too. Like, I don't want to just like, you know, I don't want to spam everybody all the time with my business. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and Edsa says, you got to like find a cool way to do it. We can find cool ways to talk about your business without making it seem like so in your face.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of us have a hard time with, especially like pricing things like you just said, right? Like, what's the price? But see, what nobody knows is that you're the one sitting hours and hours looking for what's the latest. Okay. For example, I sit for hours at a time going on different websites, Urban Outfitters, Forever 21, Fashion Nova, Zara's, Saks Fifth Avenue. I mean, all from high end to, you know, I don't want to say your lower ends, but you know, your more fast fashion websites to see what's in. I watch YouTubers who speak about fashion to see what I'm going to drop next. Now, my website, I feel, has a little bit more of the things that I make versus a lot of the stuff that I have in the store is more fashion, more of like a retail store type of environment, right? And so, for example, this is the kind of the crappy stuff that kind of happens sometimes. Penny and Sunny's brand was supposed to drop, right? And I thought, oh, that'll be cool. I'll drop it at the market. You know, you just, as a business owner, you don't always have these high expectations of things, right? Well, that first market I did pretty much sold out everything in the Penny and Sunny collection. Whoop, whoop. And then I ended up posting pictures about it. And so it was purposeless at that point, because why am I going to put it on the website if it's gone? It's gone. There's nothing there. You know what I'm saying? All their little jewelry sold at the store, all their hair. I think I only have hair clips left, which I didn't even put on the website. Because technically I have 6 left. And so if I just put them at the store, they're probably going to sell at the store. So sometimes we do things as entrepreneurs, right? and we kind of like underestimate ourselves and our ability to where you think, okay, well, this is new. I don't know how it'll do. So we'll see. And then it just kicks off. So now the little leather pants that they wore in the photo shoot, I had those for sale too, and those are completely gone, you know, and I legit only bought like one in each size. Like I had a size 3 to 6 months, you know, and it was like a 9 to 12 months, and then I did a 12 to 24 months. So that was it. And then I kind of did for Penny 2 to 3T, and then 4T to 5T, and then I stopped, right? So I didn't do a lot because you're kind of afraid at first and you don't know how it's going to go. And then your shit sells out. And then when people are like, hey, where can I get that? So yeah, it sold out. So what was the point of me posting the pictures?
Well, I'll tell you,
see?
I do, but I'll tell you the one purpose, and this will always ring true for as long as we're alive, is building your email/client list. So if they liked it and they wanted to know when it came back, you know, online or back in stock, you want them to give you your email, whoever has a side hustle or business, so that you can inform them, hey, they're back in stock.
Yeah.
So the next time you don't miss out on them.
Very true. And then another thing is that I think a lot of times entrepreneurs struggle with, right? And maybe you don't understand if you're simply really new, is when, because I deal with this all the time, guys, is what I'm telling y'all. Other things in life are happening all the time. No one knows, right? No one knows that, I'm just going to use, for example, okay, let's just use HERR Apparel, for example. No one knows all the stress that's happening behind the scenes. No one knows, you know, that you have to pack everything, label everything. No one knows that you have to pay storage fees, right?
Or if there's supply chain issues,
supply chain issues. There's no, okay, that's another thing. A lot of people, which I'm guilty of that at the very beginning, you have to pay for, if you want good packaging, right? So now how much did that cost you, right? Your shipping is out of control right now.
Bro.
F shipping. If you are wondering why your shipping is so high on HERR Apparel, you should go talk to your post office, because it's not my problem right now.
Or anyone else for that matter. FedEx, UPS, it's astronomical.
It's so out of control. Like, guys, and when you order stuff from these wholesalers, they don't give an F.
No.
I mean, I'm talking about paying $50, $60 for shipping.
Bro, we recently found a candle, and I know we're going to wrap up, but we recently found a candle or a wax supplier that's semi local. I still have to travel an hour plus to get it, but to ship the 100 plus pounds of wax is crazy what we're having to pay for that.
Exactly. So now who's going to eat up that cost?
Yeah, you have to build it into the product.
That's going back to what you're saying. It's really hard because it's like, well, damn, that's not the customer's fault.
No.
Well, yeah, that's also not my fault either. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what's the happy medium? So it's like, those are the things that as an entrepreneur, nobody understands. And probably you as the consumer, you're like, well, fuck, that's not my problem. It's not your problem. But it's also how business works.
That's how it operates. And your fans and the customers should know that anytime you can cut the cost of things like shipping, you work that in the favor of the customer.
Like when shipping was not as high as it was now, I used to love doing like orders over 50 free shipping, because shipping was reasonable. I mean, at that time, I think it was no more than like $6, even if it was like a box, you know? I mean, this was early on. I mean, I started my brand in 2015. So early on, it wasn't that crazy. Now I can't offer free shipping.
It's got to be over 75 to 100 minimum.
That's why I did this free shipping over 75 during
there you go.
the Christmas sale. Because over 75, fine. You know what I'm saying? I'll eat up the cost at then, because then it kind of balances it out, you know? But
I don't help Sol with her merch, by the way. So we're always talking about things and ideas, but I don't do anything for her.
No, nobody knows the struggle.
Sol does a lot of it on her own.
A lot of it. And then when I get someone to help, if your order was messed up and you emailed me and we talked, I think y'all know who y'all are. That's because I didn't do it, but it's okay because I can't do it all. And that's what I mean. Like when you're an entrepreneur, there's a lot of stuff that everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until
it's time to do entrepreneurship.
Shit, exactly. Because the hours that it takes.
Hey, I think we just need to leave them with something positive going into the new year.
Anyway,
You're about to have a fucking
I don't know. I was right now. I got to go because I got to do another podcast, and then I got to go fix my studio because I don't want to start 2023 with the crazy studio because I did so many markets back to back. As you can see, the front of the house is no longer a photo studio. It's now a rack studio because there's a bunch of racks there because we're so tired when they're done.
Yeah.
You did a market for the first time.
Oh, yeah. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting and no one gets it. It's hard.
But those of you that do appreciate the support.
And I appreciate you've ever purchased anything from me, if you've ever supported me, if you've ever shared my product, if you ever tagged me in a product, if you ever told anybody else about my products. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
All the things that cost $0, by the way. All the things that cost you nothing.
Even just telling a friend about my brand is helping me. Trust me. You may not think so, but it is. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I hope that 2023 brings you all the prosperity and that anything that you are planning to do, make sure you set a great plan of attack for how you're going to achieve these goals in 2023. And don't just write them down. Actually find ways to execute it, which in my planner that I will be, not planter, although that's something I need to get better at. In my planner, I will have a section where you take action on how you will achieve a goal every month. So because I don't know if you guys remember, I talked about monthly goals versus yearly goals. So I think that actually makes you a little bit more, holds you accountable for it versus like, I have the whole year to do it. If you do one goal a month, write them all down.
1% better.
Just one goal a month and work at executing that goal. Trust me, you will get so far. You'll be like, fuck, 2023 was my year. So
hell yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Happy New Year.
See you in 2023.
See you in 2023. 3 episodes a week.
Bye.
So you better join us. Bye-bye.